Hey, what up, guys? This is O'Donnell from rtsmobile.com. Just kind of want to go over a quick beginner's guide for some of you that are starting to play Clash of Kings the West that have no clue what you're doing. Just wanted to hit on a few things that might be able to help you out. They might not. But anyways, when you're first starting out playing, you'll see down here in my bottom left corner where my little video bubble is, there's a scroll with the number 4 beside it. That is your recommended quest, and you, up until about level 13, you kind of want to follow that. As you progress through those quests, you'll get rewards for it, which is going to give you food, wood, iron, etc. You'll also see over here the daily quest, and it kind of tells you what you need to do down in this section here to earn a reward for it. And you'll see as you complete them, it'll check them completed, and then you can collect your rewards, which is where you're going to get again, some resources, Lord experience, VIP points, some steel, which will be very crucial later on, and research stones, prestige badges, a lot of late game stuff they give you kind of early to build up as you go. The main thing you want to go for when you're first starting is level 13. Reason you want to go to level 13 is your troop set. Your troops will range from, let's get down here, from level 1 all the way up to level 10, or T10 is what we call them, T1, T10. Once you get to level 13 and you upgrade your training grounds to 13, it's going to unlock your first set of real attacking troops. That's kind of going to put you ahead of the game if there's not a whole lot of people that's at 13. Depending on if you spend money or not, either way, this is kind of where you want to shoot for when you first start playing, because it's going to give you pretty much the ground layer for everything you're going to work off of later on. So another thing you want to look for is as you upgrade your training grounds, whether it's your stables, your barracks, your siege, your range, as you upgrade, you'll notice this little banner, this red banner beside my troops over here. You can actually upgrade your troops. You just click on this little up arrow beside them, and depending on how many resources you have, you can upgrade those, which will raise your power level in turn. So yeah, it's pretty beneficial to have. And another thing a lot of people don't know is that if you click on these troops that are in your castle, they'll actually give you resources. If I can get it to show you. Bear with me just a moment. There we go. So there you go, just clicking through them, I got 19,000 food. It doesn't make a huge difference, but it can help out sometimes. Another thing is Novia's Gift. You want to kind of keep this going all times of the day as much as you're on. The more you run it, the more rewards you get. Right now I'm working on a technology research speed up, 6 of them. You can barely see the ×6 there. You probably can't see it at all in this video. And you also have a daily login reward, which typically gives you teleport shards is the main thing, and I'll show those to you as well. We'll go into our items list here. So just go over a few items. This dove up here is your peace shield. The 1 hours are beneficial if you're online and you're going to be online for an hour and you know somebody's trying to attack you, or if you're in a hostile area, I guess is the best way to put it. But they're really not going to help you a whole lot. You got an 8 hour. You also have, there's also a 24 hour and a 3-day available. These are random teleports. The way they work is they will randomly place your castle somewhere on the map. You don't know where it's going to be, but it's typically away from any danger. Another thing here is a destroy order. You want to look out for those, especially if you're a spender, if you're buying packs or anything like that. Those are very beneficial to have when you need to. Basically, it'll destroy a castle that's a lower level than you to get it either away from you or to allow you into another alliance's area to attack them. Another pretty cool thing they came out with is this Holy Aura, which is going to convert 20% of your attacking troops that would normally be dead into wounded troops, which you can also do with science research. I'll show you that here in just a little bit. Another thing is if you spend money, right now they're giving out these forest, mine, and farm searching magic, which is just a magic field, and I can actually show you one of those now. Typically, the highest level farm tile is what I call them, is a level 8. These will give you anywhere from an 8 to a 10. 10 being the highest one you can get, but it just gives you a lot more resources out of it. And as you can see right now, I was actually defending these people earlier, so I'm just kind of camped out here farming in their area. I'm sure they enjoy that quite a bit. But anyways, like I said, you want to go for those T5 troops right off the reel. And then another thing you want to look for is your equipment over here, or your materials. You can alternate. You'll see down in this corner here, you can change it from white to green. I usually leave it on green, and I'll show you why. If you go to this chest up here in the top right corner, you have different stages ranging from white to gold. The more you upgrade, it takes 4 of each color to upgrade 1 of the next color. So if you have 4 greens, you can convert those into 1 blue. Right off the bat, you don't ever want to make gear that is going to be white, green, or blue. If you're a spender, you can go for the higher, like orange or gold. If you're not, you kind of want to shoot for the purple. It's going to be your best bet. Anything below that is pretty much useless. I'll show you where you need to go. You have a blacksmith over here, or I'm sorry, went to the wrong place here. Blacksmith right here. Go into forging, and depending on your lord level, and I will show you that here in just a moment, will depend on what level equipment you can have. So we'll just go to the first one here. It tells you what you need, and depending on what materials you can have, you can forge it. I can make a blue sword right now, but I don't want to, because blue again is not going to be beneficial to anything. You'll also notice down here this little, I guess you could call it a little bar, that's going to show you what percentage of a forge it's going to be. A lot of people will tell you there's a lot of different ways to forge equipment and get higher end materials without having all purple materials and all purple equipment. I typically don't take my chances if it doesn't say 100%, especially when you're going for gold or orange equipment. You take a chance of losing everything and making a worse piece of equipment than you wanted. So if it doesn't say 100%, I usually don't forge it. That's just me personally. Feel free to do it however you want. But if you look in the top left here, you'll see my picture and my lord level in the corner, which is 36. So depending on your lord level will depend on what level equipment you can have. So again, depending on what equipment you get, it's going to depend on the stats or the buff that you're going to get from it. And the higher the quality of the equipment, the better the buff is going to be. Right now with purple and a level 20 lance, I'm at a +5 on my cavalry and my archer, and a +6 on my research speed. The few things you want to look for when you go for equipment, just me personally, I always go for cavalry and infantry buffs, and a lot of them have both. You'll see here the knight sword, which is level 25. It's going to give me actually a 20%, well 22% buff on my cavalry attack and a 10% on my infantry. So it's pretty beneficial to have those buffs. It increases your stats and will help you out pretty drastically. Another thing as a beginner you want to look for is building placement. If you follow that guide down there, it'll pretty much auto assign a place for a building. You do not have to follow that. You can place it anywhere you want, and you want to keep everything pretty well organized and easy to get to. It just makes the game a little bit easier, and you don't have to move buildings later on. But as you can see, all of my training grounds are in one spot. Back here in the corner we have a fortress which builds traps. It's right there along with my military buildings, and my Hall of War and my drill grounds is right there with it. Now your drill grounds is going to, the higher the level it is, the more troops you can march in a single attack. Your Hall of War, the higher level it is, the more troops you can rally. Now what a rally is, if you don't know, is if you declare war on another castle, everyone in your alliance can join that rally and you can all attack it as a team. Your traps, there's a lot of people that max traps out, and there's a lot of people that don't really mess with it at all. It's kind of a hit and miss thing. They do help, but they're not the biggest defensive help you can have. Over here we have a market. It allows you to trade resources if you need to help a friend out with food or wood or whatever. The higher level it is, the less tax you're going to get. We can go into details on that. It kind of shows you what the tax rate is, how much resources you can send them, and what power the building's going to be when you raise it up a level. Now, keeping some low-level stuff isn't always a bad thing. It really depends on what you want to do. If you want to be someone that's fighting in this game and attacking, there's a lot of things you can kind of put on hold. Your main focus is going to be your castle level, your troop training station level, and the level of your embassy, and your hospitals and military tents. If you're going for a combat build, you want to have 8 hospitals, 8 military tents, and then the rest you can kind of, I've got farms everywhere here, but you can kind of do what you want with the rest. The higher your hospitals are, the higher your hospital capacity will be. Which basically, if somebody attacks you, and I'll show you for example, right now my hospital capacity is around 88,000. And just to kind of give you an idea, I have 326,000 total troops. So if somebody attacked me and killed everything that I had, all that's going to be left is 88,000 troops, because that's all my hospitals will hold. Everything else will die. So keep that in mind. You definitely want to have those as high as you possibly can. And another thing, with your Lord level, as you progress, you'll see this little skill button down here. This is the third one to the right. Right now I'm in an all military build, just to kind of give you an idea here of what it looks like. This is an attacking build only. Now you can go the far right option here that says support. You can go into a support build. Now what that is, for me, support is training and hospital capacity. So if you are afraid you're going to be attacked, or you want to train a lot of troops pretty quickly, this is the build you want to be in. For one, it's going to give you a stamina recovery, which allows you to attack more monsters and gain more Lord experience throughout the game. But it also gives you a more troops that you can train, increased hospital capacity, a troop speed up for all soldiers. Basically, it helps you train faster. It gives you a monster attacking buff, which speeds up your attack, and speeds up your march when going to battle. I would not recommend going to battle in a support build, depending on what level you are. It's not going to help you out at all. Another thing you kind of want to look out for is your watchtower. Right now mine's pretty low, so don't hold that against me. But the higher your watchtower is, whenever you scout another castle, is going to tell you basically what is inside their castle, how many traps they have, what troops they have, how many of each kind. It's really nice to have that as high as possible. But then again, sometimes you have to put some things on hold. Another thing they've added in is this little sidebar here. If I can get it to kick out, there we go. And it kind of gives you an overview of everything you've got. Your soldiers that are training, research that is going, your trap building that's going on right now, how many marches you have out, and when they're going to come back, your material production, the Dark Knight event, which we'll go over events in another video, your wishing well, the lucky wheel. I mean, it kind of, and your building construction. I think I left that one out. But you always, if you can, you have 2 building options here. Right now I don't have anything building on the first one, so we'll just start a farm here. But if you can afford, this second builder right here costs money. It costs 250 gold for 2 days, I believe. If you can have that one running, you always want both of those going all the time. Never let off of it, and just keep upgrading everything you can. Another thing is your college. We'll go into research right here. Quick overview on your science research. Under your resource tab, your sharp axe, crop rotation, whipsaw, and animal plow, those should be your main focus under your resources. Your depot as well. It's basically going to help you gather wood and food quicker, and the depot is going to allow you to store more, so if you do get attacked and they rob your resources, they're not going to take as much. Under city development here, your supply cart, the higher it is, the more food and wood your troops can bring home. So it's pretty nice to have that maxed out. Civil engineering is a building speed up. It's nice to have, not mandatory, but nice to have. Medical facilities, that should be your main focus under city development. It's going to increase your max wounding capacity, and there is a second one down here at the bottom. So you really want to get both of those as soon as possible. The higher your hospital capacity, the less troops you lose. We'll go to city defense here. The main focus in here is going to be battlements and loophole. Loophole is a increase on your defender attack, and battlements is an increase on your defender defense. So basically, if you get attacked, it's going to give you a little bit more of a buff for your troops that are in the castle to defend. Another thing is your first aid, which is extremely crucial. Basically, anytime you attack somebody, a percentage of those troops will be wounded. If your troops are going to die, a percentage of them will be wounded instead of dying. Every little bit helps. You'll see there is a second stage to battlements and loophole in here as well. So that's another thing you want to keep an eye out for. Military training. Pretty much everything in this column is nice to have. But what you really want to look out for are your Legion. Everyone that says Legion is a additional march. When you first start the game, you can only send one set of troops out. So the quicker you get to this Legion right here, you'll gain another march, so you can send 2 sets of troops out, gathering 2 different farm tiles at one time. Equipment is kind of a new one, depending on if you've played the original Clash of Kings or not. If you're completely new, it's not going to matter, but it's recently been added to the West, which I'm very thankful for. Your Workshop Accelerate is really going to be your first thing you're going to want to go for. The higher it is, the more materials you can make, and the quicker you can make them. You can actually drive that down to about an hour per material. Medical treatment tab. Let's see here. Advanced first aid. Again, it's going to convert from dead to wounded, so very beneficial to have. And then you also have precise battlements and loophole, so you really want to keep an eye out for those. Advanced military. Pretty much everything in here is nice to have. It's one of those things that everything from equipment, from your equipment training or your equipment research down to these bottom 3 requires a research stone. I'll just show you here research stones. It tells you how many you need and how many you have. Everything has a requirement. But that's not something, the advanced military isn't something I would put my primary focus on. If you're low on research stones, I would kind of leave that for my elite troops tab, which we'll go to right now. You want to focus on castle building, barrack building, stable building, and your infantry and cavalry training. Those are kind of up until that's what you want to go for up until level 19, and then once you get to level 19, you'll go to castle building 3, barrack building 2, stable building 2, infantry training, and cavalry training 2. The way that works is your first set up here, it'll show you here, it goes to infantry 7 and lower, so it only gives you the buff if you're training or building level 19 or tier 7 troops and lower. Down here, the second stage is from level 30 and T10s and lower. So definitely focus on those. And your castle building is just going to, it's going to, basically what these do is they reduce the resources it takes to upgrade these buildings, which will be a huge help because everything takes so many resources. Keep this going here. Another thing, I don't know if I hit on yet in this video or not, your embassy, you want to keep the same level as your castle and your hospitals. I think I did go over this earlier, but you want to make sure those are as high as they can be. Main reason on your embassy is it's going to allow your teammates in your alliance to reinforce your castle. Right now I can fit 156,000 troops into my embassy, which means even though I have 326,000 troops, I can fit another 156,000 from one of my teammates that'll help me defend. Let's claim this reward right quick. Now the hero tab is pretty new for the West. It's been out in the original for a little bit now. We'll go over that in another video. I actually think somebody on RTS Mobile already has a video on this, so I'm not going to go over anything in depth here. My heroes are pretty bad on this account right now. But basically, let's see here. We'll go to this side over here. This little, I don't know if, I guess you'd call that a portal. You can select your formation, and just the gist of it, everything gives you a different reward. You may gain all of these items below if you attack this guy and win. It allows you to unlock more heroes, gain equipment for those heroes, and level up those heroes as you go. That's about as far as in depth I'm going to get on that. We'll go to the Alliance tab right quick. Your first option here is going to show you any battles that you have. You also have a battle history that you can kind of look over to see if anybody got attacked while you were off or what may have happened. Alliance mission, basically the more things your fellow Alliance members do, the more rewards you can get out of it. And then you'll just hit the one key collect down there. Same thing with the random quest. But you have to be in an alliance 24 hours for that to happen. Or I'm sorry, to take advantage of that. Alliance territory, you can view where your alliance fort is, where the supermine is, where the turrets are, and where the depot's at. Now the alliance depot is basically the same thing as the depot in your castle. You can store resources in it that cannot be plundered. The only way they can be plundered is if another alliance destroys your fort, and that will take a pretty good while for them to do, but it'll return all the resources out of the depot to every member in the alliance, and then they can pretty much clean you out. The turrets, the only thing they're really good for is hiding troops until later in the game, and even then, right now in the West, we don't have cannons or anything like that, so they don't really give you a huge help. The Supermine is basically like a farm tile, except it's really big. You can fit an entire march in there, and basically the more troops you have in it, the more resources you can get from it. And it shows you how much is remaining. If the farm ever runs out of resources, it will return all the troops that are in there, and you'll have to replace it and rebuild it, which doesn't take very long, but just to give you an idea. Let's see here. I think I've pretty much covered everything that I can, guys. If I missed anything, feel free to leave a comment or question or anything you need to. And as always, guys, happy hunting and have a good day.